Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to today's press conference, a joint effort between the City of Rocky Mount and Dr. Jason Miller. I'm Andre Knight, the president of the Rocky Mount branch of the NAACP and Rocky Mount City Councilman. I am excited and humbled today to be here with you because today marks the official birthday of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. On January 15, 1929, a leader was born. Dr. King was not only a humanitarian, but he worked diligently to improve the plight of the African American community. But he also strived to improve the welfare of all citizens, hoping that one day to eradicate the differences that exist across racial lines. So it is only fitting today that we recognize Dr. King as a leader of the civil rights movement by unveiling a website that depicts who King was through the pictures and letters and more. Today, Dr. King would have been 87 years old, and it's amazing that over 40 years after his death, people like Arthur and North Carolina State University professor, Dr. Jason Miller, continue to learn more about this amazing man. Rocky Mount was no different than any other southern city or community in the South. Negroes didn't have the full ability to vote. They could not eat in public restaurants. Schools were segregated. Jobs were not open nor available for everyone who were generally disrespected as a full humans. Dr. King came to Rocky Mount because he believed in the message of civil disobedience and was hoping to inspire black people to respect themselves and stand up to be heard. He came to Rocky Mount in hopes that enlightened white people who could help their own friends and family to end the unjust treatment of black people. And as this was happening, pickets of restaurants in downtown Rocky Mount began to occur after Dr. King's left. One particular incident that was found that a local restaurant, the Ivory Room, was being picketed by the local NAACP Youth Council. And it just didn't happen here, but in other small cities like Tarboro and Enfield, where theaters and lunch counters were being picketed. White businesses only started to see the revenues fall and profit disappear and reached out to local leaders to help them regain their customer base. Slowly but surely, a dialogue about equality and inclusion became the course of the day for black and white alike, as institution of banking and commerce and industries and government and education began to change. Our challenge today is to recognize most of the gains that Dr. King died for, and they're still under attack today. We still deal with issues of segregation, intolerance, racism, and inequality in many sectors of our society. So it is my hope today and tonight, as we see the performance, that we take advantage of Dr. Miller's remastering and digitizing the presentation that Dr. King made here over 50 years ago, and become motivated to engage everyone in every means available for us to bring this vision, this dream to reality and have inclusion and equality for all people in the Twin Counties and throughout the United States. At this time, we'd like to present Dr. Miller, who has brought national attention to Rocky Mount. We have taken this film or this recording and have masterminded and brought it to what it is today so the world can see what happened here in Rocky Mount over 50 years ago. Let's give him a round of applause as he comes.
Thank you so much. It's my privilege to be partnering with the City of Rocky Mount. It's my great privilege to have this opportunity to share in its history and refine and add to your commitment, your knowledge, your expertise, and for many of you, what was simply a life-changing experience. This could not be a better opportunity to thank people. This simply would not be possible without the city, without Allison, without Brooke, without Sheila, without our website developer, Denisha Baker-Whitaker, and without Mr. Knight. He is the person that rescued and saved these images that were nearly lost to history of Dr. King's visit. And for all the other people, Tracy Thompson at the library over at Braswell Memorial Library, for all the people over the years when this tape was sitting in an attic, being well preserved, when wise people in the city took careful attention to making sure that at the right time and the right moment could be had, and of course, as Mr. Knight revealed, to George Blood in Philadelphia, who didn't just simply take this tape and turn it into a digital format, but actually was able to clean it and restore it so that now we can actually hear Dr. King rapping on the podium. And without those extra efforts to amplify and bring these things to our attention, we wouldn't be able to all further our knowledge, understanding, and reverence of not only the historical experience, but as Mr. Knight so wisely mentioned, the progress that still needs to be made and the engagement that is beyond mere academics. So at NC State University, we pride ourselves in making research that's relevant, accessible. This isn't just going to sit in a library somewhere. And that's why we have a film project. That's why we're delighted to see Brooke and all the people of Rocky Mount who put on a perfect performance this morning. We'll do another one tonight, I'm sure. Because accessible information is what a state university is about. And trying to enhance and refine what this great community has already known and has long celebrated is really our privilege. So at this time, I want you to welcome and thank the designer of the webpage, kingsfirstdream.com. Denisha, please stand. And because of the way we're set up, I'm going to ask her to highlight just a few things about our website. As of 11:30 this morning, kingsfirstdream.com is live for the world to visit and see. This website contains educational resources, it contains the audio tape, it contains exhaustive transcripts with notes and mentions, and if for any reason you forget on how to get there, you can simply go to the NC State University webpage today, where this story is on the front page for our entire university and will be out throughout the weekend. So just a few highlights of this fantastic resource. First of all, you can see several of the photographs on our homepage provided by Mr. Knight and the great photographer, J.B. Heron. Scroll down just a little bit, and you will see a very, very brief overview of the events and the significance of Dr. King's speech. We have long known the headline is that Dr. King said, "I have a dream here," but this is literally Dr. King's greatest hits, because he also said, "Let freedom ring," and 3 years before the end of the March on Selma, he delivered his most exhaustive and complete version of How Long, Not Long. These three fantastic endings in his speeches have never been included anywhere before. And so the final 15 minutes of the speech is amazing rhetoric. You can listen right away to Have a Dream. We won't do that right now. Denisha, if you'd kindly go to the transcript page. So yesterday I alerted scholars around the country, from Harvard to California to St. Louis, about this site. Dr. Henry Louis Gates is well aware of it, and he is tweeting about it as we speak, sharing it with other people around the country. And one thing that is being noted is that we not only have the images and the pictures, but one thing we have is we have a really, really unique transcript page. Finding this tape in this condition is so remarkable because there's so many other bits of information that can't be located and found. Langston Hughes had a very clear premonition that he was about to die early May of 1967, less than 11 months before Dr. King left us. On his deathbed, he took his pen and paper and started writing out several pieces of business to get in order: finances, family. He wrote a handwritten letter to Dr. King. We know this because Dr. King's secretary, Dora McDonald, responded with a postcard saying, "Dr. King is not available at this time, but he will respond to your letter as soon as he returns." By the time Dr. King returned, Langston Hughes had died. That letter can't be found anywhere. I have looked numerous times, followed up in any number of venues about the possibilities. Whether the letter has been lost, whether the letter has been somehow purposefully destroyed, or whether it's still sitting among Coretta Scott King's things is a very real possibility. It was her that was the real impetus for Dr. King quoting and using Langston Hughes's poems. She had every single book by Langston Hughes, and she met him as a teenager when he came on a reading tour through Georgia. So she was enamored with him, and when Dr. King first quoted Langston Hughes's poem, Mother to Son, which we heard so wonderfully earlier, it was for her first Mother's Day. And so he was quoting that poem, Mother to Son, to celebrate the fact that he and Coretta had their first child, and it was a celebration to him. So this letter, at the very least, likely was another confirmation of support from Langston Hughes to Dr. King, especially after the statements he had made about Vietnam and his Beyond Vietnam speech, because Langston Hughes had unwavering support for Reverend King, even at the lowest moments of his career. I hope, but I do worry, that it might be 50 more years till we find that letter, and someone else will do very much what we're all doing collectively here today, bringing that to light. The transcript is available for download where people can visit it, but it's also available online so that when we see the entire words of the 55-minute speech, you can actually hover over different notes and it'll give you information and background on what Dr. King is referencing. So every single person that's mentioned in the speech, from Dr. Armstrong to Reverend Dudley to Langston Hughes, references, allusions, all these things have factual information where you can get to them and see them. And Denise, thank you so much for your help. And Denise's expertise has allowed this to be a hover over feature. So just pick one of any images there for us, please, Denisha. So you simply hold your cursor over the note and it gives you the information without having to go back and forth, and you can get that information right there. There are 89 annotations to this speech. I started this project over a year and a half ago to make sure we got all the facts and details and information right. So every single biblical allusion that Dr. King makes, you can find the original text in this hover over. Every single line that you didn't know had a connection to Langston Hughes's poetry has the original poem there and the dates of it. There are references to the Detroit speech, which for years thought that they had the first I Have a Dream speech. And there are references, of course, to the Great March on Washington, so you can compare and contrast. So this resource is sensational for every level, from the fourth graders we saw here earlier in the day to college academic classrooms in all this particular regard. The other things that I want to highlight are the resources page because of where we are today and what we're doing. The resources page is filled with information that connects any number of issues to what we've been learning about. So, Dr. King and Reverend Dudley exchanged letters. Thanks to our partnering with both the Braswell Memorial Library and the City of Rocky Mount, those letters are available online, the same ones you heard in the performance earlier this morning and we'll hear again tonight. And as we have those letters, we also have encountered all the press coverage from 1962. And we present it in its original format so you can see it unedited with what articles were next to it, what exact date it appeared on, and what happened. This is the way that scholars at the academic level are engaging with historical artifacts. They want to see where it literally appeared. There are great pictures of the people who have been here. Mr. Tillman, Ms. Brody, Dr. Omakunde, they're on there and available as well, so you can get a sense of what they did. The other thing that's really unique about the resources page is that the original performance of Origin of the Dream that was done right over here behind us, right at the Imperial Center in Rocky Mount, is available online so you can watch it and engage it. So if you are one of the few groups of elementary students that couldn't come today or want to know about this for Monday's events or in the near future, you can go there and see this take place. Very briefly, you can see the newspaper article from the Carolinian from 1962. As you scroll down a little bit, you'll see a whole host of other materials. We have connections to links where you can both hear and see the Detroit speech, which came later. We have links and connections to the speech in the March of Washington that you can both hear and read. So anybody that wants to compare and contrast this dream and know that it was much more and nothing like a rough draft can see that. And the press coverage is there as well at the very, very bottom. Finally, the last point of this growing website is that it is meant to be an educational tool. And so there are already lessons on there for teachers at the high school level to teach the connection between Langston Hughes's poetry and Dr. King's speeches. And this is also a curriculum that's being developed by Apex High School in the state. And once that is complete and ready, that'll be added here as well. So your comments can be made on this web address. Your feedback can be made on this web address. Your personal memories, the importance of the engagement that Mr. Knight spoke about, all those things can be cataloged and brought together for us to respond to and make accessible. I'll add this on this particular day. This educational resource is, for me, very much a call to everyone in the area to continue to educate and teach and engage the importance of Dr. King's visit to the city of Rocky Mount. Rocky Mount is the birthplace of Dr. King's dream. That is remarkable history, and this resource will make that something that people can learn even more about, engage with in any number of ways. It's one thing to know a history, it's quite another to be able to access it. And so when we have this ability to hear these speeches, engage with this information, and really get to the point where we can hear these details, it is quite a remarkable experience for any number of things. So this work is something that we are delighted in partnership with the city, with the assistance of all the folks that we have had, and with everyone that we are familiar with, to really make available, and we're delighted to do this. In case you don't know, the furthest piece of this project beyond the book and the website is a film that is being made, Origins of the Dream, being directed by Rebecca Cerise. We have already had the great pleasure of interviewing Ambassador Andrew Young, and we did one of the final interviews with Julian Bond, and so that is well in progress as we move forward at this time. So with the help of so many that have been named and deserve the recognition, it's my pleasure here at the Imperial Center in Rocky Mount to announce that King's First Dream is available and ready. Thank you very much.